Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Transitions Collective. I'm your host, Mary Clavier. Today I'm speaking about my key takeaways from a conference that I attended called Tap to Speak Live. It was hosted by Terri Trespicio and it took place in Boston, Massachusetts. So the conference was 2.5 days. I went because I wanted to work on my speaking skills, wanted more visibility and information around how to do that, how to prepare myself for a talk, because I do believe everyone has a message and it's meant to get out there, and I've been trying to work on mine. So the conference was actually 2.5 days. The first day was more focused on writing, actually, and the second day was more on speaking and presentation. And then the third day, the half day in the morning, was again focused on writing, but in a small group, which was really fantastic. So I didn't really expect to do so much for writing. I've actually never considered myself a writer at all. I have an engineering degree, and in college, I only took the one required writing class, which was expository writing, and I just kind of shied away from the rest. But this conference really changed how I view writing and how I'm going to address it in my business going forward and use it as a tool for myself too. So my first takeaway that I want to share with you is that writing is a muscle that needs practice. So no one is actually a bad writer. You just need practice at it. Telling yourself you're a bad writer is just, that's it. You're just telling yourself something. So you have to change your mindset and your attitude around that. So I was always saying, I'm a bad writer. Oh, I can't write. I don't like to write, so on and so forth. But after the first day at this workshop, we actually were given different prompts to use. So one of the speakers would give a short, a few sentences about something and then say, okay, write whatever you're thinking about that topic. And let me tell you, the first round that we did that, I was just writing super random, like streaming thoughts, but that's okay. I was just getting it out there on paper. And there's a whole methodology that they shared with us called gateless writing. Suzanne Kingsbury is fantastic. She spoke all about her program. I highly recommend it. So there's a certain methodology and a process that they use to create a safe space where people are able to share their work and get positive feedback so they know what to continue with in the future. So as we did each one of those pieces of the workshop, I saw improvements with my writing. And after hearing other people share their pieces and hearing people comment, what they thought worked really well with what they wrote, it got me thinking about what I was writing and kind of brought my writing up a level with it because I was learning also from them. So that's a really big thing, just writing in general, telling yourself you don't write, but as you get practice, and if you do it in a way that creates a safe space where you're comfortable and you can keep, working at it, that makes a huge difference. So that might be in the form of journaling, really anything where you have thoughts. If you're, thinking about something and you randomly get a side memory, a memory from like 15 years ago, has that ever happened to you? And you're like, wait, how did I think of that? Or where did that come from? That's all your brain like coming out with different creative ways that it's thinking about things. And what they really stressed in there, which was a takeaway for me, is to just keep practicing writing, like, with journaling or using prompts with a writing group, but something to get yourself used to that and used to that rhythm. That leads me to my second takeaway, which is that you'll really find what you're meant to write about what you're meant to speak about through that writing. So the practice of writing, getting your thoughts down, seeing where they take you, it will show you different things and you'll get information out of it about either what you're passionate about or, just how your thoughts show up in a different way. It's totally different when you think about something and when you write it. And you'd be surprised. So the act of actually writing it out makes a big difference. So that was really something for me too, because they relayed those little mini workshops for writing into the speaking portion of the conference. So that brings me to my next takeaway, was that if you want to speak, if you want to be out there speaking, you need to practice. So practice your messaging, writing what you want to talk about, and then practice. So if you know you want to be out there, say on a bigger stage, doing a TED Talk or TEDx talk or something else at a conference, giving a keynote, you're not just going to wake up one day and start in that spot, right? Okay, I knew that also before the conference, but it was a great reminder, because what they did talk about was how the consistency of getting and booking, pitching, and then actually booking speaking opportunities consistently will lead you to those larger audiences and the larger platforms. So it's not something you could just do once and turn off. No, you have to consistently go after it and consistently practice. So that's something I've even been doing more recently. I spoke on a couple of panels. Panels are another great way to get out there and get visible. But there are some better ways to function within a panel, which I also learned at this conference, because you want to be supportive of the whole panel, but also show and stand out in what you're doing, because you could be invited back as a speaker later on for another event that they might have. So starting out with things like panels is a great way to go. I know for me, it's been great practice for getting my message out there, learning different ways that I can talk about the same topic, because when you talk about your topic more than once, you might get tired of your story, right? So talking about it different ways, sharing with different audiences, it's all part of the practice that will work you up to wherever you're meant to go next. If you want to just show up on a big stage, you're going to crash and burn, basically. So another takeaway that I learned, and I thought this was great when Terri gave a very impassioned speech about this one. Don't wing it. If you don't like speaking, but it's something that you want to do in the future, or you're planning to do more of, and you just think, okay, I'm just going to wait till the last possible minute because I don't like it anyway. It's making me nervous to do it. So it's going to be better if I just do it when I really have to do it. So I just get up there and talk when I have to talk, because you want to lessen the stress of actually giving the talk that you don't want to do. No, you need to practice. You can't wing it, because it'll just be a crash and burn mess. So as much as, you want to avoid it, the more prepared you are and the more practice you have up front, the better it will be when you're actually on stage. Some of the best TED Talks, and other speakers you might find on YouTube and so on, they practice. They know every move that they're making on stage. They know every time they're taking a pause, every time they're, giving a laugh, everything. It's practiced. It's all planned out so that it can be the most impactful for the audience. So you have to practice. You can't wing it. I'm going to actually share a couple of TED Talks in the notes for this episode, TEDx Talks that some people from the conference actually did. So Sarah Montana did an incredible talk about being your whole self. It's one of the most moving talks I've ever seen, and I'll link it in the show notes. She's fantastic, and she practiced that whole thing, and that's why it came out so great, is because she knew what she was doing every step of the way. Another one that I really enjoyed, and it's from someone that I met at the event as well. Her name is Laura Tempesta, And she has a TEDx talk called You'll Never Look at Your Bra the Same Way Again. She has a master's degree in like lingerie and bra fitting. Um, she's one of the only one that holds this degree in the US. She actually had to go to Europe to get it. And she's just incredible. So the way she talks about bras and the history of bras, but also leaving us with a message of challenging why are things still the same way, was really impactful for me. So there's different ways that you can give your talk that will match for your story and also send a message, and whatever message that is that you want to send. I'm going to also link Terri's TEDx talk about passion. She talked I think it has over 5 million views now. She talked about passion and how you're not meant to just have one passion. So I'm going to link that as well because that's also a great one. But really, these 2.5 days where they were just incredible for meeting new people, for writing, for speaking, for learning new things. I try to be very selective about where I spend my money in terms of conferences and workshops, because I think it's very easy to get sucked in and, have FOMO about everything, and you want to go to all the conferences and you want to be all the places to see everybody, but that's not really always helping your business, So I specifically chose to go to this conference. I was invited by a friend who also spoke at this, and I've had her on the Transitions Collective before. I was invited by Alyssa Weinzimmer, who is a vocal and presence coach. She actually spoke at the event as well. So, of course, I learned new information from her even there. But she invited me, and, I thought long and hard about, okay, what will this do for me and or my business? Is it addressing a need that I have, filling a gap? Am I learning something new? And really, I felt that this conference would give me all of those things. So that's why I decided to go. And it was fantastic. I can't even tell you. I'm excited to go again next year. So just meeting the people, all the different content, my whole perspective is changed now on writing. So that's a whole other thing. There's no turning back from that now. I just see things in a completely different way. So some things that I'm going to be doing now based on going to this conference and how I want to apply it for myself and my business. One thing for sure is that I will be writing on a more consistent basis, no matter what. So I don't need to write to have it all, figured out and just knowing where it's all going. No, I just need to practice writing. And with that practice, I will get better and feel more comfortable with it. And I think also with that practice, I will get more about my message from it. So that's a big thing, writing on a more consistent basis. Also pitching for speaking opportunities on a more consistent basis. So we actually had a speaker, her name was Patty Lennon. She spoke about booking 50 speaking gigs in 50 weeks. And just the fact that you have to, it's not something you can just pitch some speaking opportunities and then you're done. No, you have to do it consistently, set aside an hour a week or however long you want to spend and work on your pitches and submit them, because as you pitch more things, it opens more doors for you. You're showing the universe that you're consistently out there trying to do this and that you want to do it. How you show up every day is part of what you're saying in your messaging about how you value yourself and your business. So that's a whole other topic I could talk about maybe for another episode. So pitching to speak on a more consistent basis also. And just really the biggest thing that this has taught me, and I mentioned before, but the biggest takeaway for me is just it has changed my viewpoint and my mindset on writing. So I know I had planned to go more for the speaking than for the writing. And even when I showed up there, I was saying, well, I'm not a writer. I don't know how this is going to go. But as I learned so many things, I saw so much how the writing relates to then what you speak about and how you speak about it. So I'm going to be incorporating that into everything I do, even as I prepare to give any talks or prepare to share my story, because I just think it's interesting and impactful. And I think it really changes, the way when you feel differently about the writing and the process, that comes out as you speak about it. It's something else that we learned there. But if you're just writing because you're forced to write, you'll be able to tell that in the talk or whatever other medium it comes out in an article or podcast or so on. But if you're doing it from a place of authenticity and really working on those writing muscles and seeing where things take you and discovering those things, that will all show up in your talk or podcast or blog or book or anything else that it might be. So I wanted to share those with you. I hope it was helpful. Really, it was such an amazing conference. I'm so grateful to Terri and her team for putting this on and for all the speakers, because I really enjoyed every single one of them. And I left with so many things that I could apply for myself in my business. And hopefully you got to hear and see some of that today that might help you with your business. So until next time, have a great day. If you have any questions, of course, I'm always around. Please feel free to email me, mary@thetransitionscollective.com. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. Bye.